following deck profile is brought to you by Team Rainbow Signer. Rainbow! Hey guys, jace-burner here again, and I'm doing a deck profile. As you can tell from the beginning cinematics, that's what shows when I do a deck profile. Things that you might notice that are different from what I usually have been doing lately is that I'm not in a bowling alley, and it's not really loud outside. Just doing it in the room again, and it's more quiet. I have more control over things, and it's not one of my decks, so I don't need to do it at a bowling alley. This time I'm going to be going over one of my fun decks I like using. It's not in cases because it's a fun deck. I'm not going to use a bunch of cases for a deck that I rarely use. But I call it a Flaming Warrior deck, which is not gay at all, so shut up. Yeah, it's basically a burn deck with a big emphasis on warriors, because there's a lot of warrior support and speed that comes with it that recycle, and it's really good. But anyway, I'm going to start it off. And I got to start off by saying that this is based off of a deck that one of my friends used to use. He always used to use like a Princess of Tsurugi and all that jazz, and it was really irritating. It was like warriors with that card. It's like, oh, you bastard. Alright, here we go. I'm starting off with 2 Fire Troopers. A lot of people know what this does. When this card's summoned, you can send it to the graveyard to inflict 1,000 points to your opponent. That's pretty much it, man. And you team this up with Marauding Captain, summon Marauding Captain, special summon this, send it to the graveyard, 1,000 points. It's whenever it's summoned, so if you revive it, you can still send it. And speaking of the old Captain, triple Marauding Captain. Every mainly warrior deck should use this unless you're using 6 samurais, because they have their own card that does the same thing. It also helps with the lock using 3 Marauding Captains. So. And we got 2 Field Commander Raws. They're little searcher cards. Get those precious warriors that you want on the top of your deck. And then the main burn of the warrior is Princess of Tsurugi, using 3 of these. Anytime this card it's flip summoned, it has to be flip effect, so inflict 500 point damage to your opponent for each spell and trap card they have on their side of the field. At first you might think, well, it's only like 1,000 or 1,500, usually at max, but with some of the cards I have in here, it makes someone have to play a lot more face downs. So Princess of Tsurugi is really awesome. Recycling this is really easy with the cards that I have in it. Then I use 000 Gardena, only one of them, the rare version, but basically I contribute this card during either player's turn, and my monsters can't be destroyed as a result of battle, and I take no battle damage during that turn. So if this is my only monster face up, I tribute it, I'll take no battle damage. It's like Wabaku, only monster form, and I can recycle it because it's a warrior. Level 4 is also kind of important in this deck. And this is kind of off the beaten path. 3 Giant Germ. I love Giant Germ. I've used it in every type of burn deck I can because it special summons really quick and it's 500 points. It's just fun to have. 1,000, I mean, they get special summon in attack mode, but 1,000, taking a little bit of points isn't going to hurt you that much. That's the warrior. That's the monster lineup. I'm going to go into the spell lineup now. Get your staples: Monster Reborn, Giant Trunade, and I guess you can count that as a staple, but then we got Book of Moon. It's really handy. I mean, it is a staple in most decks now anyway, because you do get to stop people from going off on you. But with this deck, it's even more important because you're using flip effect monsters. You can use it on your own monster, flip them face down, and get their effect again. So, Princess of Tsurugi, Book of Moon, really awesome. I'll use double Book of Eclipse. If your opponent swarms the field on you, this flips all face-up monsters into face-down defense position. It's really handy, especially all face-up monsters, so even your own monsters. So if I have double Princess of Tsurugi on the field face-up, and you try and swarm the field and try and attack me, I play Book of Eclipse, put all of our monsters back face-down. You flip and you draw, but it's my turn now, and I'm going to do a lot more damage to you. So double these. That's my little library I got going there. Some books. Basic for warriors is Reinforcements of the Army, and I use 3 Warrior Returning Lives. Any of these warriors in my grave gets any warrior back from your graveyard. Puts them back in your hand. So you have Marauding Captains, 2 Marauding Captains in your graveyard. Play 2 of these, get them both, special them both to the field again. Really handy. I use double Mirage Tube. Now, a lot of people don't know what this does because it came out with a lot of other cards that were pretty weird. But what it does is it's kind of like a mini magic cylinder, only it doesn't negate. You can only activate it. I can't activate it during my hand, obviously, because its effect wouldn't work anyway. When a face-up monster I control is selected as an attack target, inflict 1,000 points to my opponent. That's simple. And if I can play a Mirage Tube and Wabaku, and they'll still take 1,000. Also, if you play Wabaku and they're like, oh, I attack it anyway just for fun. Mirage Tube, god dang it. It's essentially a mini magic cylinder, like I said. Also, we got some stall. Got Swords Revealing Light, Level Limit Area B, double Vengeful Bog Spirit. Vengeful Bog Spirit basically gives every card a Tune Sickness. Monster summoned can't attack the same turn it's summoned. Level Limit Area B puts all level 4 higher in defense mode. A lot of decks use level 4 and higher, so you get rid of them, install them out with that. And the last spell, Messenger of Peace. It's really handy. The 100 life points is completely stupid. They might as well just said it doesn't have a cost. They should have even made it more cost or no cost at all, because 100 points is just irritating to keep track of. Yeah, that's the spell lineup. As you can see, it's really warrior based, stall, get your monsters back face down. And now onto the traps. As any good burn deck should use, 3 Just Desserts. Old card, still really good, especially if your opponent's swarming the field. When 5 monsters on the field in one turn is completely realistic now, Just Desserts can inflict major damage to your opponent for practically nothing. I use Triple Magic Cylinder, since you can have 3 of them now. This card, when it was at 3 before, completely hurt the enemies so much because you had to worry about pumping up a monster so much. It's at 3 now because the main decks out there, now 6 Samurais, don't get too strong and they can negate the trap card. So if you play it, it's like, okay, negate it, don't care. That's why it's probably at 3. It'll probably stay at 3 for a while, unless people start running these things in triplicate again. 1 Ceasefire, because you can only have 1 Ceasefire. I was using 3 on accident because I didn't know. I didn't bother because I figured all like effect damage cards were at 3. I wasn't paying too much attention, but it's also pretty handy. It flips all face down monsters and flips them face up, negates their flip effects. So Raikou, flip it, no effect for you, and does 500 for each effect monster on the field. Apparently you don't need a face down monster to play it, you just play it, so it's really good. Triple Nightmare Wheel. It's a really good stall card. Opponent attacks, stop the attack during your standby phase to take 500 points. So usually you're going to do that damage pretty quick. I put these in place of those 2 other Ceasefires because I had nothing to think of to put in at the time. So Curse of Darkness, anytime someone wants to play a spell card, they take 1,000 points of damage. With this deck does use a lot of spell cards, but its own life points are pretty pointless. So you don't really need your life points high, you just want to take them down really quick. Here's a really interesting card to use. You can hardly see it, because this is the original one. Anti-Spell Fragrance. A spell card has to be set face down before you can play it. What that does is makes Princess of Tsurugi all that more important, because they have to play all their spells face down before they run and activate them. So it loads their back row, so they're taking even more damage with your triple Princess Tsurugi. Also, if you have Curse of Darknesses on the field, you put those face down and Spell Fragrance, and as soon as your opponent starts turn to play Anti-Spell Fragrance, they have to set their cards. Like, okay. And so they set theirs, and then you go and you flip Princess of Tsurugi and probably play Just Desserts or something if you manage to stall. So you did probably about 2,000 points of damage. And they go, you play double Curse of Darkness. They probably just set their spell cards that they really need. And now they can't play them without taking 2,000 points of damage. It means they can probably play maybe 2 spell cards throughout the entire game until they get rid of the Curse of Darkness. So yeah, that's going to hurt them. It's really good, and it's the best way of stalling out someone's back row, which no card does these days. Nothing. You can stall a monster, you can stall all sorts of things, but stalling their spell and traps, hard to do. That helps. Other stall, Gravity Bind. Everyone knows what that does. I use 1 Wabaku. I should probably increase it so I can stall better. An interesting tech choice that could actually be used in side decks right now is Ready for Interception. This lets you flip one face-up warrior or spellcaster type monster on the field in face-down defense position. It sounds like a really specific Book of Moon, right? That's because it is. Now, with Book of Moon at 1, you can't use it to stop 6 samurais. Ready for Interception, though, is like having 3 more Book of Moons that work against 6 samurais. Playing this thing really screws them up. So maybe you want to side in a couple of these against 6 Sams if you know you're going to go against them. Really helpful. Also, all my monsters are warrior. I want to recycle my Princess of Tsurugi back face down, and I want to do more damage. And just one random trap card, Needle Wall. It destroys a face-up monster after I roll a die, depending on where they are on the map. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is reroll. Okay, my standby phase, I roll 2, destroys a monster that's in that position on your opponent's side. And I was like, okay, they can just move their monsters. For one, rule, you can't move your monsters. When you play them on a field, you have to leave them there. You can't go moving them around. Because there's a lot of cards out there that's very specific on where they are. Also, with this thing stalling, your opponent's going to have a lot of monsters on the field, so you're probably going to be able to destroy it anyway. And it's a guaranteed chance of blowing something up. 6 is reroll, so you gotta try it again. So there's your traps, monsters, and spells. Let's center those for you. Like I said, it's a Flaming Warrior deck, is what I call it. It's really handy. It is based off of one of my really good friends' deck, and if you're doing a multi-person, like 5 on everyone gets everyone, this is a really fun deck to use because all these cards inflict damage to your opponents. So all of them are counted as your opponent. You play Just Desserts, and say 2 out of the 5 people that are playing have 3 monsters. That's 3,000 points of damage to everyone. And I win with this deck in a massive way, one, because it just does way too much damage really quick. I also lose with it because then everyone focuses on you, so But yeah, it's a really good deck. It won't win a tournament, probably ever, because decks are way too better than this. Yeah, that's right, too better. It's a new word. But, and there it goes. Alright, this is jace-burner signing off. Peace, deuces.